Namaste, and welcome to 10 Minutes with Dr. Marc Halpern. I'm Dr. Marc Halpern, and I'm honored to spend this time with each of you. Today, we're going to talk about the Kapha Reducing Food Program. Now, if you have a Kapha nature or a Kapha imbalance, pay close attention because this is going to guide you toward what kinds of foods are going to return your body to balance and to harmony. Now, in Ayurveda, we talk about having a constitution. A Kapha constitution means that you have more earth energy and more water energy in your body and in your mind. What that means is you tend to move more slowly, tend to have thicker, denser bones, maybe a little bit more soft tissue on your body. It's natural, it's normal, and this is what it means to be a person with a Kapha nature or a Kapha prakriti. But anybody can have a kapha imbalance. And when you have a kapha imbalance, you're overweight. So even if you have a constitution that is more vata, more pitta, or kapha, and you gain weight, you will have a vata imbalance. And then this food program is also going to be very beneficial for you to help you to return to a state of balance. So let's take a closer look. A person with a kapha nature should take foods that have the opposite qualities of the imbalance. So a kapha nature or a kapha imbalance means that you have the qualities of heaviness and moistness. Now that means that the foods you take should be light and dry. A person with a kapha nature or imbalance typically has the quality of coolness as well. So the foods should also be warm or spicy. If we look at this in terms of the six tastes, the six tastes are sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. Three of these tastes will help a person of kapha nature to return to balance, and three of them will cause a person to go further out of balance. The tastes to emphasize to bring kapha back into balance are the pungent, the bitter, and the astringent tastes. And the tastes to avoid are going to be the sweet, the sour, and the salty tastes. So the sweet, the sour, and the salty tastes increase kapha dosha, and they are going to lead to an increase in body weight, and they're going to lead to more mucus forming in the body, more water in the body, which also means more swelling. Now, if you take in more pungent, bitter, and astringent qualities or tastes, these are going to bring balance to the kapha dosha, and they're going to reduce body weight. They're going to reduce the amount of water that is retained within the body, and ultimately help an individual to return to a state of harmony and balance for their nature. And that's what is important in Ayurveda. So, what are some examples then of foods that a person could eat in order to bring the kapha dosha back into balance? Well, the first thing is to remember that the food should be warm and therefore spicy. So spicy foods are actually very, very good for bringing kapha back into balance. That's the pungent taste. You know, the ginger and the hot mustards and spices like that, peppers, all of that is very good for bringing balance to kapha dosha. Right? Those are great examples of the pungent taste. So no matter what you eat, if you want to bring balance to kapha, spice it up a little bit. Make sure that it's on the medium to hot side when you take that food. All right. So that's the first tip for you. The next tip for you is going to be to eat foods that are lighter. A good example of that would be tofu, and a good grain is quinoa. So a bowl of quinoa with some cooked tofu in it, this could be very beneficial for a person with a kapha nature or a kapha imbalance. Of course, salads are also excellent. Salads tend to really emphasize the bitter taste and to some degree the pungent taste as well. A pungent salad might be something that has some radishes in it or some arugula in it. Bitter would be more like dandelion greens, and many lettuces tend to also have a bitter component to it. So those are good examples of the bitter and the astringent tastes. Large salads can be consumed, lots of salad, but you know what? You've got to be really careful with the salad dressing because the oils tend to increase the kapha dosha. So that means that you're going to want to have just a very, very light dressing. Here's a good recipe for you. Just take some mustard oil, add some lemon juice to the mustard oil, and a little bit of black pepper, and just mix that together and then pour that over the salad. And that'll be wonderful, and it'll also help bring balance to kapha dosha. Now, kapha dosha does very well with all of the vegetables. And so vegetables in general tend to be lighter and very supportive. However, root vegetables can be too heavy. So you have to be very careful with the potatoes and the cooked carrots. In general, the raw vegetables tend to be lighter than the cooked vegetables, and you certainly wouldn't eat a raw potato, though you might have a raw carrot. So you want to have the raw foods. They're going to be better for you if you're kapha dosha. All right. So we can have salads, we can have lots of vegetables, we can have grains like quinoa, even some buckwheat is okay to be cooked into a grain. Tofu is a very good source of protein, and well, along with tofu, soy really of any form and soy milk is going to be very, very good for balancing the kapha dosha. All right. Now, some other tips for balancing kapha dosha. Many times the greatest challenge is overeating. And a person with a kapha dosha or kapha nature or imbalance tends to have a weaker digestive system, which means that they get full more quickly and they digest their food more slowly. So the key really is to make sure that you only eat until you're 75% full, which means eating slowly and making sure that you check in and say, well, do I feel satisfied? And the moment you feel satisfied, that's the time to stop. Now, as a rule, for balancing the kapha dosha, you benefit from eating only 2 meals per day. Maybe one at 10 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock. Now, I know that may not be the times that you're used to eating, and you might like to eat 3 meals a day. And 3 meals a day are very good for people with a pitta nature, and 3 or more can be very good for a person with a vata nature or vata imbalance. But when it comes to kapha, 2 meals per day is the key. So utilize these foods. Take them twice a day. You can have a big salad. You can have a bowl of grains like quinoa and tofu cooked in mustard oil and spices. And it's going to be very satisfying and very delicious. So I hope you have enjoyed this video and enjoyed learning about how to bring balance to the kapha dosha. Now, I want you to do me a favor. If you enjoyed this video, I want you to let me know by putting a comment down below. And let me know if you'd really like to hear some more about the kapha dosha, perhaps a part 2, where we can go into more detail, and maybe you have some other tips or other ideas for what you'd like me to talk about. I'd be happy to consider those. Once again, it's been a great honor having you participate in listening, and I hope to meet you in person sometime in the future. Many blessings to you. Namaste.